Hey guys, it's Maria here from the Happy Healing Shop, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be one in a series of videos about making your own divination tool, or DIY divination tools. Now, while we can make some divination tools from scratch, you can also find things that you feel resonate with you that you can turn into divination tools. And today is one of those cases where I found something that I thought was really cool, I thought would make a perfect divination tool, and it's something that's not designed or marketed as a divination tool. It's really marketed as a game for kids and family and their families to make up creative stories with. So I thought, wow, I gotta share this one. And today's DIY divination tool is Rory's story cubes. Some of you who are parents or teachers may have already come across these in, you're using them with students, or if you're a writer, you may use these to help you come up with ideas to write stories just as like warm-ups or in general, or like to help you figure out what the character should do next, things like that. Now these story cubes come in different themes. The one I have here is, I think it's, let me just open them up and take a quick look because it's not totally evident on the front. Oh, I guess it's, this one is, oh, this is the original one. Okay, so these are the Rory's original story cubes. And they do come in different themes that are like meant to kind of, it's like, expansion packs, I guess you could say. Now, the ones I'm interested in getting next are, there's like a primal one, which is like, I guess it's supposed to be like outdoors, like nature-y stuff, which is pretty cool. There's another one that's called actions. So it has like the dice depict various like people doing different actions, and then there's another one that's like voyages, and I mean they've got to have at least 5 or 6 other themes of these, which is amazing, and you can get crazy with these and just use them all, which I hope to try one day. I've already been saving them in my Amazon cart. So today I'm gonna share with you these Rory story cubes, and I'm gonna do a demonstration so you can see a couple ways that you could use these. Now, some of you might be wondering, oh, this isn't traditional. That's, isn't a divination tool have some sort of special magic attached to it? Like tarot cards are inherently magical or something, or runes are ancient and they're infused with old, ancient wisdom and things like that. Like, well, listen, at the end of the day, these are tools. Runes are tools, tarot cards are tools, pendulums are tools, a Ouija board is a tool, etc. The conduit is really you at the end of the day, and you can make a request that the information be shown to you through a specific tool. So it doesn't have to be these dice. I could be throwing, pieces of macaroni around, and if I've collected 5 different kinds of dried macaroni, I could put them in a bag and toss them out on the board like runes, like you would do with runes. I could take those pieces of, like for example, I could collect dry macaroni pieces of different shapes and colors and then put them together in a bag and then cast them like runes and have my own system for interpreting those. It's the same thing with tea leaves. Tea leaf readings, it's all symbolic, The tea isn't inherently magical. It's a ritual that's reinforced, and that person who's doing the divination has made a request that that tool does a certain thing and uses a certain system. So it's really interesting how people perceive divination tools, and I think people get caught up in the fact that they think the tools themselves are just magic. Now I think that ones that have been used a certain way for a very long time do accumulate like a collective consciousness around them. So I do think tarot cards have a certain energy compared to and then I notice like different oracle decks have different energies associated with them. I feel the difference between the decks. Just other different types of divination tools can have their own collective conscious because they've been used for so long by so many people to do a specific thing that they can kind of develop that and you can sense that. But it doesn't make them necessarily more powerful. It's just that you're becoming part of that collective consciousness. Now with these, you know, I get a really fun energy off of these. I get a really fun and empowering energy off these little guys. I don't know why, but it's probably because of the way they're designed, the intention that went into making them. All those things can kind of factor into the vibe and the collective consciousness around a specific thing that you're using. So why did I choose these? Why did I, first of all, where did I find these, right? And why did I choose these? Well, I was in Solvang with my husband celebrating our anniversary, and we were walking around, walked into this little old bookstore, and they had this awesome section that was just devoted to like board games and things like that, and educational games and tools. And I just like saw these hanging out and I was like, oh my gosh, what? And I saw immediately how powerful these can be. So the reason I thought they were so powerful is, first of all, they're die. So, you know, they have different facets. To me, I love the symbolism of a multifaceted object, like a die or a crystal, things like that. I think it's really powerful. That the geometry, I love the geometry of it. I also love the number. There's 9 of these. I thought 9 is a great number. It's a very spiritual number, a very psychic number. And on top of that, I thought the illustrations were very clean, easy to read, and really fun, and they cover a lot of different topics. So if you multiply 9 times 4 sides by, each dice has 4 sides, you know, times 9, I mean, you get a lot of combinations. So I thought to myself, wow, this is gonna make a perfect divination tool, and I cannot wait to try them. I had full confidence that they would work as soon as I bought them, because just the symbolism plus the act of rolling, tossing, and you could do so many different things with these within that kind of context. So now I'm gonna do a demonstration, and we're gonna see, let's do a theoretical reading with someone who is wondering what they need to do, or what's stopping them from finding the perfect relationship for someone they want to settle down with. And you know, when you first start working with those, a new tool like this, a new divination tool, just set the intention that you want these to be a divination tool, and that you want your angels, guides, gods, goddesses, whoever you work with, to work with these tools when you're using them, to work with them as a divination tool to deliver answers through these, and that you'll interpret them. And that's it. It's really it. It's all about intention, that you can turn anything into a divination tool with intention, just like you can turn anything into a holy object with intention, or a ritual object with intention. So let's get started. So I'm gonna do this on behalf of the invisible querent, the person getting the reading. Since I don't have one in front of me, I'm gonna just, oh, that one wanted to come out. So we're gonna let that come out, just like tarot cards. So I'm gonna have them shuffle, or sorry, I'm gonna have them roll and just kind of however they wanna do it, and then they're gonna cast them. They're gonna cast them like this. Now, do you see how this is stacked on top of that? You can find patterns, the more you use these, that you wanna use as significators, things that are make something more powerful or have a different meaning if it's a certain way, if there's a certain shape that comes up from the way they're cast, like if it formed like tea leaves, how you can see different shapes in tea leaves, or runes even. You can make up a system for that. Like, what does that mean? What does it mean when a dice is stacked on top of another dice like that? What does it mean if there's one that flies out? You know, what does it mean if they're upside down or sideways? You know, like, you can go really deep with the way you create the system for this. And the fun part is that you discover and learn what you like and what you don't like, or what you want to implement and what you don't, the more you work with it. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. So just to show the diversity of this tool, I'm gonna accept upside down just for demonstration purposes. I'm gonna go ahead and use 3 things here that I'm observing right off the bat that are interesting. I'm gonna use the fact that the world dice fell out way ahead of the rest of them and it's all the way off to the side. I'm gonna use that as something significant. I'm also gonna take the fact that these two die are stacked on top of one another as significant. And then I'm also gonna use reversals in this one. I'm not the sideways one, it's a little vague, so I'm gonna use them if they're turned mostly upside down. I'm gonna consider that upside down. This is also upside down. This is right side up, and these are right side up. So we can separate them like this, or you can put them all together in a neat, organized way. It's up to you. So what I'm seeing here right off the bat is, what draws my attention is that there's this clock that's just about upside down on top of this magnifying glass. How interesting. What this tells me is that the person feels like they're looking and looking and they're running out of time because the clock is upside down. So they're feverishly looking for that person, or feel like they're gonna run out of time to look for that person. And that's stressing them out. The fact that the world is all by itself over here, I feel like makes them feel like they don't fit in. They don't understand. They feel like no one's gonna understand them. Maybe they don't feel like they belong in this world. They have a certain sensation or idea about themselves that they're isolated, or that they are just not, they're just not like blended in with society like other people around them are. They don't want the same things that the rest of the traditional mindset of different people around them want. Like this is like that separation. This is like that separation there. And then here I see that we have, again, we have a cane, we have a shooting star, and we have a cloud. I'm sorry, a cloud and a rainbow. And this is a very interesting combination, because I feel like this is actually like, you're gonna meet someone you're gonna grow old with. But stop worrying that you're getting old to begin with. You're gonna meet someone you're gonna grow old with. And that person, that person is gonna come to you in divine timing. When I see the shooting star, you ever look up at the sky and it's like you look up and suddenly there's a shooting star. It was like, wow, how was the timing of that was crazy. I can't believe that as soon as I looked up I saw that, and it feels like a sign. It feels like I should make a wish, right? Well, taking that energy of that shooting star and then saying like, it's gonna come to you. Like there is a person that is made for you, coming to you in divine timing. And it's gonna be a happy relationship. It's gonna be a happy companionship. You just have to change your attitude, because this is a very positive outcome. But what's going on? Why are you having trouble with this whole, what are some more things that are causing issues for you in this regard? Mentally, emotionally, physically, etc. Well, here we have these emotional, for me they're upside down, by the way. I know on the camera it's like flipped. But we have these kind of depictions of like the drama masks. I can't remember what they're called. If any of you remember what these are technically called, you can leave them in the comments below. But leave the name of them in the comments. But I'm gonna say this represents emotions, and it looks like there's a discord between this person's emotions. It's upside down. It's not being dealt with. Maybe they're ignoring their needs. Maybe they're this whole idea of things running out of time, and oh my gosh, I'm gonna run out of time. And I feel alone, I feel isolated. It's causing all these emotions that they're not dealing with the root of where they're coming from. I'm seeing that they're over analytical. I'm seeing the book is upside down. They're over analytical. They're overthinking it. They've been probably watching a bunch of videos about how to find the right relationship. They've been reading all these books, magazines, etc. They're getting all confused from all this input from all these different perspectives that are confusing them out of understanding their emotions and what they truly want. And what I'm seeing is this, to me, the magnet is showing up as reversed for me, from my perspective. Or, that's technically reversed, but I'm going to say it's halfway there, so it's reversed. And this magnet what does a magnet do when it's not pulling in? It repels. So all this energy here is repelling the energy of love, repelling the energy of connection and commitment, because this is too cerebral. They're cerebral here. They're trying to fit into something they don't feel like they're a part of. So don't. Instead I would say like find a dating service for people that are quirky like you, or have the maybe uncommon interests like you. Maybe stop reading these books. Stop watching all these videos and get a therapist and dive deep into why you are feeling this way about relationships. Because when you work on yourself here, it will come to you. So you can see there that we've done a preliminary reading for someone who's wondering why it's been hard for them to find a relationship that they can settle down with. And that's just one example. So in this one, I kind of loaded it up with reversals and other significant patterns, I thought, like stacking, isolated die, grouping, etc. And you can make this really simple and just read them all, turn them all right side up like this, and just read them in a row, and rows of 3, and with the you know, the order not really mattering. That's up to you, and that's why it's DIY divination. So that you can read it just like that too. I've already practiced this a few times on 2 different people and myself, and it works out really great every time. I have to say, the imagery on this is clear and it's powerful. And at the end of the day, it's on you as a reader to tell the story of what these are trying to say in a clear, concise, and powerful way. And that's another thing that leads me to another thing that I think these would be great for. And that is honing your reading skills as a reader, honing your ability to read symbols, honing your ability to divine through symbolic imagery, and helping you to practice readings. So if you're a reader and you're like a new tarot reader, and you know, it's a lot of imagery in there. It is a ton of imagery in one tarot card, and you could be a tarot reader for a heck of a long time and still never get to the full depth of a single card. Like, you're always learning new things. There's always symbols that they can morph and change, you know. You can read them differently as time goes on. You can see things you didn't notice before. You can put things together in ways you didn't notice. And it can be overwhelming at first, but here you have a multifaceted die with a very simplistic image on it. And I think this is a great way to just start recognizing symbols and to start figuring out what these symbols mean to you. Because just like a tarot or oracle deck, this little guy, this little thing this set comes with a little book, and it gives you ideas, and it gives you ideas for how to put the stories together. And so I think this would be a great way to learn how to read simple symbols and to put it into a great story, to learn how to orate, how to give a powerful reading, and without the pressure of memorizing complex imagery, you know, getting hit with that first and feeling overwhelmed. So while you're building, let's say, your tarot skills, you can use these to help build your oration skills, your putting images in your mind together to divine the information in a clear and concise way. You can also use these to develop a psychic or mediumship library. So if you're working with spirits, or if you're working with energies in your guides and you want to have a symbol library, you know, some mediums especially like to use symbols. It's very common. They like to have a symbol library. So a rose might mean love, or a noose might mean murder, or, you know what I mean? Like, they might have these different, a butterfly might mean peace and forgiveness. Every medium has a different symbol library, and some use them, some don't, but it is very common. So if you don't know where the heck to start, you can practice with these. And if you resonate with the imagery on these, you can tell the spirits that come through to use your symbol library, and they can see that you're referring to these. So that's something that is another powerful way to use these. Now, you know, in this, I realize in the back here, they have these they're marketing 3 different types of story cubes, but they have more. They have voyages and actions as well. So imagine adding actions to these and adding different types of trips and voyages, and how you can interpret those. As someone who's divining information from, you know, other dimensions, this is a great way to get in touch with your style of reading, to get in touch with, you know, creating a system that works for you. And to also, it helps you to communicate with your guides. So even if you now have no intention of becoming a reader ever, and you just want to get in touch with your own divine essence, to understand your higher self better, to talk to your higher self, to talk to your guides, talk to your family members, but you don't necessarily feel like developing mediumship skills or psychic abilities, you know, formally or anything like that, you can use these to talk to the loved ones on the other side, or your spirit guides, or your higher self, or other divine energies, extraterrestrial energies, whatever you want. You can use these as tools to do that. So this is just an example of many ways you can create DIY divination tools. You don't have to find them in a fancy psychic shop. You don't have to get them because someone says that this is the right way to do divination. There's really no right or wrong way. It's all about what works for you and your personal energy and your essence. And the energies that you're trying to work with will adapt to the way that you work. So that's the beauty of DIY divination. And I would encourage you guys to get creative. Let yourself be inspired. If you want to, you know, if you want to do something like even get collecting dry macaroni in different shapes and colors and putting them in a sachet and then tossing them like runes, you can do that. I mean, I know it sounds silly, like, oh, you're using dried macaroni, but there's no judgment, man. Like that, if that works for you and you have a system on that, that's great. And it feels empowering to create your own divination tool. And also, it makes you a better communicator. Because when you can be dynamic and use different imageries and tools and experiment, you're making it easier for the energies you're trying to work with in other dimensions to communicate with you, because you're adaptable and you're not sticking to a rigid way that someone taught you how to do it, and they've been doing it that way for 50 years, and so that must be the right way. I want you guys to be empowered to get in touch with your own divinity and your own power, and to understand that a lot of the restrictions that have been placed on using psychic abilities are really from humans that are just trying to do their best to understand this very complex, you know, other worlds, you know, we can call them dimensions and energies. And, you know, our consciousness is continuously growing and continuously evolving. And with that, you know, our ideas about how we can be divine beings and how we can come into our divinity changes over time. And things that were fear-based before, because fear is just so great at controlling people, right? And that stuff is not going to be tolerated as well as our energy shifts here on Earth as we come into a more divine place. My goal with doing these DIY divination videos is to just help you awaken and understand that there's this magic that is inherent in all beings, and that you have that within you, and you don't need to buy necessarily a traditional divination tool because it has history or whatever. Someone came up with that tool too sometime. They all have origins. And while I love working with traditional divination tools too, I also realize that if you follow the basic principle that it's about intention, you can expand your practice and be able to communicate in ways that you maybe didn't think were possible before. So this is a way of thinking outside of the spiritual box and playing and being fun, and like when you're playing and you're exploring, when you're radiating that energy, it's vibrant, it's high vibrational, and it makes it easier to communicate. When you're studying tarot cards and you're stressing out and whatever, and it's not clicking for you, like, it takes time to learn those, and there's a lot of power that comes with that. But guess what? You can find a tool that you can make up the meanings for and try them out on friends, try them out on family, try them out on yourself, and just learn what that tool is trying to teach you, and see how your guides are trying to direct you, and drawing your attention to certain patterns or things that are becoming apparent as you learn and you know, set aside something as a divination tool. So without further rambling, that's it for this video. You can get these on Amazon. You can get these in, I think, some bookstores. I haven't checked if Barnes & Noble has these, but I'm pretty sure they probably do. But these are wonderful, very positive, happy little energy on these things. And I'd encourage you to give them a try, or share in the comments below if you have experimented and created your own divination tool. Let us know what you're working with. Let us know how it's going and how you discovered them. It's so inspiring to hear the different, many, infinite ways people can work with this divine energy. So with that, everybody, have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in any of our services or want to read our blog, you can go to our website at www.thehappyhealingshop.com. We're most active on Instagram, so, and as compared to some of our other social media, so you can hit up our Instagram at The Happy Healing Shop and see what's going on there. You can also follow us on Facebook, and we have a group there called The Happy Healers that you can join. It's still budding groups, we're trying to just still build it, so if you want to come be a part of that, please do. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like it and subscribe, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much again for watching, and we'll see you again soon.